Adjustment is weird.
Hey man, how you doing?
Hey, buddy. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Doing okay.
Okay.
I made lobster for dinner tonight.
Oh, hooray. Did,
Yeah. I
is
wanted my
the
wife
plan
to
working?
eat. Yeah, my wife gained 6 pounds in the last 2 weeks. She seemed to be a little bit underweight or carrying smaller, and in the last 2 weeks she gained 6 pounds. Doctor weighed her on Friday and said she was 141. And 2 weeks ago she was 135. And tomorrow we have an ultrasound for the whole, it's going to be the official 2-week ultrasound since the last one, where they said, oh, the baby's underweight. We're concerned about you.
Yeah. So hey man, that sounds like it could, forbear well.
Yeah, I'm hoping it will. I'm really excited to find out. By my estimate, the ultrasound approximation should be over 6 pounds, but we'll see. I mean, she's been eating a lot, and if she ate, and what I've been doing is making her eat until she's full throughout the day, every day. She always has food, and she's always full, and she's been gaining a lot of weight, which is good.
Yeah. Yeah. I really appreciate getting to learn about this too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It could be that she was carrying smaller because she's short, she's little, but I think it's because she didn't eat as much. So, you're supposed to eat for two, literally.
Yeah, at least. Plus
Yeah.
any inefficiencies that might arise.
The other thing that's going on, I was thinking about it. They want to induce her, but I'd want to carry to the 42. Her to carry to the 42 weeks. I think that could be good because there's the thing that women that carry longer, that there's a correlation with carry term and IQ. But so if I wait first of all, going longer than 42 weeks is very dangerous for the baby and the mother. But in addition to that, you look at what 2 weeks from Wednesday is. That's Christmas.
Okay.
I don't want my son to be born on Christmas or near Christmas because that would, when you have a birthday this time of year, it's really hard because everybody lumps in whatever gift and celebration they're doing with just Christmas or Hanukkah also if you're Jewish. Every year that was a thing for me, but to some extent because my Hebrew birthday actually is the last day of Hanukkah.
Yeah.
But so if we wait 2 weeks, because the due date is Friday, but if we wait 2 weeks, that's the 27th. But still, I'm a little concerned with how my son will grow up. I don't want that to be like it'd be disappointing every year if his friends can't come over, whatever, because people go away for Christmas or they're whatever. Everybody's busy this time of year.
Or on the contrary, they may have more time to hang out. Pardon me.
Well, that depends. If it's the day or two after Christmas, maybe, but they might. But people go away for Christmas break. You get a week off in school. And if it's like everybody's preparing for holidays, I mean, you're not going to have a birthday party then. I think that's the worst time to have a birthday is like the week before Christmas.
Well,
So
You know, people are born when they're born, as far as I'm concerned now. You know, the recent science may suggest otherwise.
Well, we're going to try to induce this Saturday.
Okay.
So he'll be born on my birthday.
That'd be really cool.
I mean, I'd be very happy about that. I hope that's not too short-sighted, but it's far enough before Christmas to where you can actually celebrate your birthday and your friends are still around and they're not going away and they're not doing something else.
I mean, I understand, you know, however, you know, little importance that may play, or how great of an importance it may play, you know, but if the fetus is growing, you know, it might be worth just continuing to allow that to happen for a little bit, depending on the amniotic fluid and all the other factors at play.
Well, the doctors have been recommending that we induce last week, so I'm sure the doctors would agree with the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I would want to wait it out. We'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so you saw that thing, so some guy duct taped a banana to a wall, and that sold for $120,000.
Yeah, it was a metaphor.
What's the metaphor?
The metaphor was the contrast between, you know, what may seem to be everlasting duct tape and, you know, this artificially created object, and then the banana, which, you know, will rot and, you know, turn brown and go bad.
Okay, well, but then that gives a really interesting question. Does it appreciate in value when it rots?
I suppose we'll never know.
Right, because
yeah.
because somebody stole it, or what? No, they didn't steal it.
It is sort of. They absconded away with it in their stomach.
Right. So, this artist, Maurizio Catalan, he did the duct tape banana to the wall as the thing.
Yeah, and it sold
for $120,000.
Yeah.
And then some other guy, this performance artist, took it off the wall and ate it.
Yeah. Typically when works of art are sold at the gallery, they're still left on display till the end of the exhibition, but there's a red dot put next to it.
You know, the issue with that I see, you know, it's one of those things. Like, remember a couple of years ago, Banksy? Is that how you say it? Banksy? Banksy, not Bansky? Banksy. Oh, like Munksy, I guess. Yeah, so Banksy did that thing where as soon as it was auctioned, it was shredded and destroyed.
Yeah. He had put a shredder in the frame.
And what did he set a timer?
No, I guess he was hidden in the audience and had a button that he pushed on a remote. I think it's amazing.
So this guy rips a banana, a $120,000 banana off the wall and eats it, and he's a performance artist.
That's my understanding of it.
You see, this guy Maurizio Catalan, he made one of my favorite modern art pieces. Now, I'm not a fan of modern art by any stretch of the imagination, but I am a fan of this particular piece, which it was controversial.
Which piece? The banana?
No, it's called America. It was a solid 18-karat gold toilet that was on display at the Puppenheim Museum. I call it the Puppenheim Museum for reasons I'll get into in a minute, but it was on display at the Guggenheim Museum. They allowed the public to use it. I mean, you had to pay the admission fee to get into the Guggenheim, but it was open to the public. It was on display. They let you go into the bathroom with the gold toilet. 5 minutes, you get alone, and most people just pee. They don't let you bring your purse in there or anything. There's toilet paper. You wash your hands. You're fine. But I waited an hour and a half online to use that toilet, and I pooped in it. That's why I call it the Puppenheim Museum. I pooped in that toilet, and I managed to take a selfie of myself while pooping on the gold toilet.
Is that allowed?
I didn't have a selfie stick or anything like that, but I very carefully extended my arm and pressed the shutter button on my iPhone. Was it an iPhone? I think I had a Droid then. No, it was an iPhone.
Okay.
I can't remember.
On your phone?
Sure. So I did it on my phone, and I managed to angle it to get some of the gold toilet in the picture. So for my birthday that year, so I sent I thought it was really funny. I sent the picture to my friend, and my friend, for my birthday, got it framed and plaqued. I mean, he made a plaque for me of a picture of me going to the bathroom, number 2 on a gold toilet.
Do you have it hanging or up somewhere?
Well, I went through the basement recently and I found it, so I will certainly hang it in the bathroom. I'm going to hang it facing the toilet so that every time I go in there, I'm going to have that memory brought to me by Maurizio Catalan. Now, the reason why that guy made this, now he does all this crazy art, right? He thought that, well, his view of America is that, it's not that it's something to dump on, literally, and he thinks of America as something that provides wealth and opportunity for people, but that it's open to everybody, and that's why he wants everybody to be able to use this toilet so that they can experience and feel the wealth.
Okay.
Well, there was a British museum it went to recently, and it was stolen.
Oh, wow.
I have no idea how anybody would steal a golden toilet.
Logistically.
Did you ever pick up a toilet?
With, I don't know, a diesel forklift, I guess.
Toilets are heavy. Those things are so heavy. I mean, a porcelain toilet easily weighs 80 pounds. Easily.
Yeah.
But you're talking about a gold toilet. So you're talking about something maybe 6 times as dense as the porcelain. I don't know. I did a calculation. Maybe it's 5 times as dense. Whatever, 5 times as dense as a porcelain.
Yeah, okay.
You know, 4.6. I mean, glass is like 2.8 2.8 grams per cubic centimeter. So, and that I was able to calculate the amount of gold in there too, based on a standard size toilet. I think based on gold prices, it would be about $12 million worth of gold. The news article I saw recently, it only says like $6 million. I think that's a little bit low because gold just went up in price. But anyway, this guy Maurizio Catalan, he makes these interesting art pieces, and I mean his most famous one was also stolen and eaten by another artist.
That's really funny. Man, yeah, I mean, what an interesting character.
I don't know. I don't get this whole modern art thing, man.
Yeah.
Do you get it? I mean, like, do you understand what it's supposed to be?
Well, some people say that the Surrealist movement was the last avant-garde.
What do you mean? You mean the last of the old guard or the last of?
No. Here, let me give you a dictionary definition so that we can work with this.
No, I know what avant-garde means, but I mean, how are you using it in this context?
So, new and unusual or experimental ideas, especially in the arts or the people introducing them.
I mean, but Andy Warhol wasn't a surrealist. I mean, Picasso wasn't a surrealist.
And so, I believe Picasso came before Surrealism.
Yeah, but he was also around until afterwards, too.
And but in terms of artistic styles, you know, it depends on who you talk to. I think art historians.
Well, yeah, but you're saying it's the last avant-garde. That's why it's.
Yeah, essentially, like the art that has come since is kind of, it's not you know, unusual and experimental in a creative way. It's kind of, you know, it's just, there's a lack of attention placed on the creations. I mean, by and large, not everyone. I mean, some people pour their lives into their work, certainly.
Okay, so you're saying that it's less like that now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think for someone to be a master, I don't think that it holds the same weight as it once did.
You know, I was talking to my brother about this, and there's a really interesting thing that he said, and I never really thought about it before. More or less, this is how he more or less this is how it could be paraphrased. He says, "Well, prior to photography, you tried to paint things to look as realistic as possible, but after the invention of photography, you didn't have a need for that anymore. So the first real schism that happened in the art community was with the Impressionists and the old guard of like the Paris Institute. They thought that the Impressionism, like Monet, didn't have the same kind of skill and standard to it, but people like Monet, they were experimental in that they were trying to express that they see the world, but just different ways that they can represent it based on colors that might not be real. Because you could do that and you could play with it, and you know, it's a more interesting way to look at a picture.
Yeah.
that I never thought about it from that way before. Like why couldn't the Impressionist movement happen in the 1600s with Cézanne or Rembrandt?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it could have, but people were focusing on other things.
Right.
You know, and in some ways it took being able to capture things accurately to have a desire to depart from it.
Did you ever hear that theory before?
No.
I think it's really interesting. I never thought of that before.
Yeah, it does sound very interesting to me.
The thing is, when you have the people that do the offshoot with a lot of these things, at first, the first and second generation of it is really good. But then after that, when you throw out the standards, the first and second generation might be good, but then after that, it deteriorates into, well, I mean, I would think it's garbage, but some people are willing to pay $120,000 for it.
Well, yeah, and part of it may be the work that the artist had to do to convince people that was art. I mean, he has a body of work that seems a little bit out there.
I don't know. I mean, if I painted a Brillo box exactly the same way that Andy Warhol did back in the 1950s, or whatever, I mean, or a picture of a can of soup, why is it art when he does it?
I guess you had to know the guy. I don't know.
I mean, you could call it garbage. You could call it sewage. You wouldn't be wrong to call modern art sewage.
Well, I think that artists believe that they're, in a way, swimming in culture, in and out of culture, in between different parts of society and within themselves, in seclusion, working on their craft, and the combination of that should bring things that evoke feeling and bring revelation.
So, is it more feeling to use elephant excrement as a pigment than if I would just use paint?
It may, so if you might be highlighting the torture of circus animals, and you could do a circus painting out of elephant excrement, and that might be a big deal.
Well, see, this is what I'm not getting, because what I'm referencing is a work by Chris O'Feely, who, when he was 30 years old, I think he was 30 years old at the time, he created a painting, the Virgin Mary. He painted it with elephant excrement. It went on display in New York. At the time, Mayor Giuliani wanted to censor it because he says that the First Amendment does not cover lewdness, that this is just lewd because it's dung. And the painting sold in 2015 for $4.6 million.
Quite a sum.
For sewage. For raw sewage.
Yeah.
finding that I looked it up. There are other artists that have done stuff like that. There's one that makes and sells canned excrement. I don't know if it actually contains that, but that was made as an art piece also. I, and while I think those things are very funny, like bathroom humor is very funny too, I find it very difficult to think about it as artistic.
Yeah. No, that's the elusiveness of art, is that subjective affair. I don't know how
So
appraisal
what
works.
am I missing as far as what I mean? Because isn't art supposed to be making a statement?
I suppose. I
I'm I'm trying to figure out what the statement is with a banana or a can of excrement.
Well, to go on the can along the
Hey,
can
that
line
is clever. To go on the can. That's clever, man.
Very good. So yeah, regarding the can, it could be a metaphor for how people spend their money on, or waste their money, put it to
Right.
waste. And some people might really appreciate that, to the point that they might like a reminder in their house.
Okay, so I'm not like the most strictly classical person with art preferences, but I'm not into the whole modern art thing. I like surrealism. The cool thing about surrealism is that it looks like stuff that it's supposed to be, but they draw unreal things, and then that's very cool to see. Like, I don't know, you can see, a car. On one end is with the headlights, and then coming out of the trunk turns into like a human face or something. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Sure, and the distortions of shape and things like that are accompanied usually.
Yeah, and they look like those things that they're supposed to be. I think that's very cool.
Yeah,
I
it's
never got
tremendous
cube.
work.
I never got cubism.
Sure.
I
You
mean,
know,
do you get it?
I mean, I suppose that, so cubism, I think it's just, really looking at the primitives. It's identifying through primitive shapes and forms.
But these things don't look like what they're depicting.
Well, what does that exactly mean?
Well, to me, cubism would be like you want to represent the circle, so you get creative and you use a triangle. And instead of, drawing a dog, you draw a star. And instead of drawing an airplane, you might draw like, uh, I don't know, half of an ellipse or something.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's just, you got to imagine it as an exploration of geometry. Just imagine some artists getting excited about geometry and being like, hey, I want to explore geometry for a bit. And then they try to like deconstruct what they're seeing around them into, primitive geometric shapes and planes. And I think that's basically cubism.
So you get it. You get all of this art, what it's supposed to be saying, and why it's popular. For the most part, you get it.
No, I'm not. I'm no art appraiser or critic, but I have an opinion.
Okay.
Oftentimes.
Because I mean, for me, it's lost on me completely. That's why it's interesting to talk to you about this. I have absolutely no idea.
I dated a woman who was a curator for a gallery, and artist and art historian. So I've learned a bit through her, and just having made art myself, and sometimes researching stuff, but not too much of a formal background. One class in college, a humanities course, which was kind of broad, covered writing as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So but there's always more to learn, and art is expanding in all directions.
I just wonder where it's going to go next.
Well, I'm starting to see with, I'm starting to see with 3D printing becoming more widespread. Starting to see it come into manufacturing and architecture. So I think that the format is exploring further physical forms, and then eventually coming into artistic digital forms for virtual and augmented experience.
So you think technology will be used as a medium to progress what we could do with art?
Yeah, I predict that there will be art galleries. There will be art galleries in cities that you can go into, and through augmented reality, be able to select any number of works of art to see. And I think the same thing with graffiti. I think that graffiti, many artists will be able to use the same wall, and different people will see different works or no works at all.
Okay, but as far as like 3D printing and stuff like that, it isn't one of the things about art is that it's supposed to be able to be unique.
Sure, and that's one of the things about 3D printing that enables, or that really promotes that. It's possible to make one of something if you're just printing it out. If you have to make molds and invest a lot of capital, then usually you want to make a lot of them.
See, that's exactly the thing from Futurama. Futurama, they have this. The robot Bender. He wanted to be a folk song singer, so he tries to steal the bid from some guy or whatever. So he takes a picture of the guy's guitar. He says, "Yeah, you can't steal. You can't do this. This guitar is a beautiful and unique object. It's one of a kind. Because blah blah blah." And then it cuts scene after Bender the robot. He takes a picture of it. It cuts scene. The guy's talking to some nerd in a laboratory, and he says, "With modern technology, we can take a beautiful and unique object and scan it and make millions of copies of it by pressing a button. I call this process science." And, well, so what he does is he takes these scans, he 3D prints the guitar, and now it's a cartoon, but essentially the idea that you could do that. So it's no longer a beautiful and unique object.
Well, perhaps. So, I mean, at some point, it may be possible to to recreate things exactly, but I don't know. Suppose you don't share the contents of the materials, and you use unique materials.
I mean, you could also just print one copy and then delete the file.
Yeah, but that might not protect you against people scanning it, like you said.
Yeah, I mean there's always going to be a margin of error with scanning and stuff like that, but it could get it pretty close.
Oh yeah. I mean, with structured light scanning, I mean it's amazing. Even with operators that are average, you can get within a thousandth of an inch pretty easily.
And they do that with blue light, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, blue lights. Yeah, it is really cool. Yeah, we should chat about that sometime.
Yeah, because you used to work with the blue light scanner.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to also tell you about photogrammetry. I think that's a pretty cool topic.
Yeah, probably some other time, because you've heard you yawning a couple of times. You probably want to go to sleep, right?
Yeah, man, it's just about that time.
All right. Take care.
I see.